What's going on, everybody? It's Jay here from Nerd Takes, and today I'm bringing you my take on The Iron Claw. The Iron Claw tells the story of the Von Erich family, who are one of the most famous families in wrestling, as well as one of the more tragic stories. The movie focuses on the perspective of the second oldest of the Von Erich brothers, Kevin Von Erich, played by Zac Efron, and details the highs and lows of the family's journey in wrestling. Now, if you don't already know the story of the Von Erichs, I won't go into that here because I do feel it's better to see it for yourself with this film. I will say it is a heavy story emotionally and one that is unfortunately quite heartbreaking. What I do want to talk about with this film is how good of a job those involved did in telling this difficult story. To start, I'd like to applaud the job the actors did in this movie. Multiple strong performances were turned in by the cast, highlighted by the efforts of Zac Efron, who, in my opinion, was able to show off his ability as an actor in this role. We were able to see a more serious side of his acting that we hadn't seen in some of his more recent roles. It was a side I wasn't totally sure if he could pull off, but upon viewing the film, I have to say he stepped up to the role and delivered. He does a great job at balancing the gentle nature of the role through the highs and lows of not only his character's life and career, but those of his family as well. It's a subtle but emotional role, and he does a great job at conveying exactly that. Alongside of him, the supporting cast gave really good performances that helped recreate a complicated family dynamic. The chemistry between the brothers was wonderfully done. It was not only a highlight of the film, but the heart of it as well. They very much felt like a loving set of brothers who would do anything for one another. They were incredibly endearing, which would make the events of the film even more impactful as the story progressed. Holt McCallany, who played their father, Fritz von Erich, does very well in conveying the tunnel vision type focus of an overbearing and strict father living out his dreams vicariously through his sons. Subsequently, this creates an immense amount of pressure on the brothers that ends up creating a divide between father and sons, but still they maintain a respect and desire to appease their father through the success of their own careers. His believability in the role really helps get across the complexity of the dynamic the family deals with. The story itself is obviously based on true events. However, upon doing my own research into the family, I've found that there are some liberties taken in the movie's depiction of the events, which I think is expected to a degree when it comes to films of this nature, but overall, I do think it is very well written. The story at times takes you from feeling the love of a family and of brothers who want nothing more than to be with each other, sharing success, to points of immense emotional stress and pressure of trying to live up to the goals set upon them by their father, which made the ensuing struggles of the brothers very emotionally relatable. It touches on hard topics like substance abuse and grieving and does so in a way that feels real and raw, making the tragedy of the story really hit home with the viewer. It also gives an interesting behind the scenes look at what life is like for an individual in the sport of professional wrestling and the dedication and sacrifice those athletes have to make in order to achieve their ultimate goals. On a different side of things that were done well, I'd like to point out the wrestling aspect of the film. As a longtime wrestling fan, I have to say I thoroughly enjoyed those scenes. They were choreographed authentically and filmed in a way that made them feel very theatrical, amplifying the cultural relevance of wrestling in that era. They felt a bit larger than life, showing how big these brothers were in the world of Texas wrestling. The soundtrack to the film was great. The use of classic rock songs really helped set the stage for an 80s Texas wrestling timeframe. The music paired very well with the tone and the aesthetic of the film. Overall, I think it's one of the better films to come out of 2023. It's well made and takes on a very emotional and impactful story and does so in a very respectful way. It's a definite recommendation as one to watch. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll be back again with another review soon.